wanted to say thank you for putting these on.
Oh, you're welcome.
And, okay. So I'm doing 4 things at once here. Okay. So yeah, we've spoken a couple times before, through text. I guess the one thing I really wanted to talk to you about was kind of the spectrum of narcissism. I'm currently in a relationship with my kid's mother, and we've been together for 15 years, and it's been very difficult. Even just like I can't even be home because it's just all we do is everything I do is suspicious, and she's just not. I don't know, processing things. Like there's the littlest thing. Like, so we have this computer, okay, and so she's saying I'm purposely putting this file in the recycling bin to hurt her, and so now she has to retaliate by taking the computer monitor upstairs when she goes to bed, and it's just these little things that keep adding up. It just drives me crazy.
Right.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm sorry. A couple of years ago, I realized that I was in a real bad situation. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I make decent money, and there's no reason why I should be living paycheck to paycheck. My accounts are overdrawn, and I'm like, this is crazy. I could do way better than this all by myself. If I could fail this miserably all by myself. And if I tried to pay attention to do something, I could probably be a little bit more successful. And so I'm just relaxing with my kid. I'm playing a video game with him. He's showing me his video game, and she comes around the corner and she's just, something's not right. And so I'm like, you know what? I got to change this. So immediately, all of these things came. I became flooded with ideas and all the things that I've been kind of repressing about myself. And I'm sorry. I made a plan that I had to get out of the relationship, and this was like 2 years ago. I've changed jobs, and I haven't been successful with the changing of the jobs. Luckily, my old job, they kept taking me back. So what happened is I found there was another nurse, a traveling nurse, and she was in a messed up relationship, and we hit it off, and we kind of had a relationship as well. And that relationship, turned out to be what I read in the book, Psychopath Free, was a traditional, what I would call a traditional narcissist relationship. The idealization, the devaluing, and the discarding. It's totally what I went through. And so, here I'm thinking I'm doing something, to kind of get myself free and get myself out of it and move out of this relationship. And I ended up getting myself knee deep into another one.
Right.
And so now, I have a difficult time trusting my judgment when it comes to, myself. I'm like, am I making the right choice? Well, now I don't make any choices. I just kind of sit there and really try to focus on the littlest detail to try to get me to move forward. So my deadline to move out was in March. But I think with all the problems that we're having at home between me and the kid's mom, my youngest son is acting up in school. So now the school wants to go and they're causing a problem. Well, there's a problem with my son at school. So that's just more effort, time, and energy, um, I guess, diverted. I don't want to say. It's just another area of focus that I have to focus on.
Another fire to put out.
Yeah, a total another fire to put out. And so it's to me, it's just overwhelming. I've called them lawyer. I spoke to you about the lawyer referrals. That was one of the last texts I sent you. I called one, and they said that the receptionist said there's only 2 lawyers in the office, and one's on vacation, and so they wouldn't get back a hold of me to the end of the month. And then the other lawyer that I was referred to, they said, the receptionist said, "Oh, well, she makes her own appointments. She'll call you back." And that was like 2 weeks ago. And so that's kind of frustrating. And I'm like, geez, usually they get the retainer and then they ignore you.
Right.
So, right now, and so now I was hoping I could get some money back from taxes. Well, something happened where now I owe taxes, $500 or $600. So, the apartment I was looking at, it's I couldn't get it. It's rented. So I feel like in some ways I feel like I'm back to square one, and I get really, really down. I guess the real problem is I'm really lonely, and I think it kind of shines through whenever I'm talking to people. Like wear my heart on my sleeve. So when I'm talking to people, they're like, "All right, this guy's real needy, or this guy is, we need to stay a little away from him because he's, he's not right or something." And so somehow I feel like that I'm, I mentioned this before. Am I narcissistic? Because that's what she'll argue with me. I didn't want to bring the book into the house, but she went into the car and found it. And so now she's like, "Oh, you think I'm a narcissist, and that's abuse, and you can't call me a narcissist." And I'm like, "Look, I didn't call you that because, it ain't right to go around doing that. And now that's what you're doing to me. You're calling me a narcissist."
Right.
And so, I don't know, I just feel like I'm dumping on you.
So let me try to understand what the core of what you're asking here is, because it sounds like you're saying you're overwhelmed with a lot of things going on right now. Your son acting out his behavior, he's acting out the problems in the relationship. Like, you can mediate that and try to do some things, to mask the symptoms or kind of help him cope. But until that relationship changes, meaning it either miraculously heals itself, which it doesn't sound like likely it's going to happen after 15 years of that, or you guys part ways and you get your kids to a healthy situation, and then his behavior changes, but it's going to be really hard to totally fix that problem while you're still in the relationship, because the kids are feeling it. Like, they always feel it, even when they're really young, and unconsciously they usually start either acting it out or they start getting sick a lot. That'll happen sometimes too.
Yeah. And she's reinforcing our relationship on the kids. So she'll say, your dad is this, your dad is that. And
right.
And I'm like, that's not cool to do that. And
No.
and so and the kids are smart. The kids are extremely smart. They play the game where they know what's going on. They know what's fair. They know what's right and wrong. But they also don't want to have because if they disagree with mom, then she just kind of hounds them for 45 minutes to an hour,
Right.
breaking them down to get them to agree with her. And so they're just kind of torn in the middle, and it's a really, really shitty situation for them. So plan one is to, I talked to the lawyer I did talk to like 2 years ago, said, to pack up, get a residence, and move out. I'm just like, well, that's, it's easier said than done. For some reason, I can't seem to, quote unquote, pull the trigger. and get out and get out of there.
What do you think is holding you back?
Well, logistics. There is logistics with my employment and logistics with my youngest son. Right now he's being what's called he's on homebound, where a tutor comes to the house and he gets his lessons there. And the other issue is that when he was at school, he would kind of act out at school, and I would have to leave and come pick him up and bring him home. And so, so that was one issue. There might be some things I could do. I'm eligible to get him some sort of community hab where there's a person to come in that kind of helps him work things out with the community. They might be able to help him get his tutoring, or if he goes back and rematriculates into school, then if there's an issue, then they can come and pick him up and it's someone that he can trust. It's someone that has worked with him that he can trust. But so there's that conundrum, and then the other conundrum is daycare, where I have to be to work at 6 a.m. and it's nearly impossible to find any type of reliable daycare at 6 a.m. for these kids. I don't mind paying for it. I'll pay whatever.
Right.
But it's just a matter of finding someone reliable and dependable to be able to get them what they need and where they need it. And so those are the two main ones. And then the third one is just money, which not a big deal. I think that if I just worked a couple shifts, I could get, first month and security deposit. So those are the three lies that I tell myself. That's why I can't move out. The real reason is I'm scared.
Right.
I'm just terrified of the repercussions. I'm terrified of the move, the day of the move. I try to figure out, what am I going to do? Am I just going to pick the kids up from school and have an apartment ready? Am I going to leave all the furniture and everything there, buy new stuff? And, she's going to be at the house. And then, so now the other issue is that basically I'm just abandoning this person who doesn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of or any real abilities to function. And as a nurse, that's messing with me. And as a father, that's the kid's mother. And so I have to be very careful because I don't want the kids to see, this is how you treat people when they're sick. This is how you treat people when they're ill. And again, you got to take care of yourself too. And, where the hell do you draw the line there? And then she's going to go and I can already tell she's going to just sing all the greatest hits. Oh, your father's abusing me. He's leaving me stranded. He's abandoning me. He doesn't care about us. We're in an interracial relationship. So she'll say, he doesn't care about the black people in the home. He only cares about the white people. And it's just as worse as you could possibly imagine it getting. We're there, And so I guess I'm just terrified of actually leaving and going. But every day I come home and it's the same crap. Every day I go to work and I'm dreading going home and it's the same crap. And I went home for 5 minutes today and I'm already getting, I'm in the bathroom and she's barging in the bathroom. I'm like, look, can I take a crap? Can I, really, is it that important that you have to come in and barge in and I'm an ass. Now I'm the ass. I did that to hurt her. Right. And I'm just like, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, so, and the thing is that I'm not trying to bash her. I'm not trying to, but there's no explaining anything. There's no rationalizing anything. We were going to counseling a while ago and I needed counseling for my counseling sessions because it would just be a bashing session of why I'm a piece of crap. And the something thing is I start to believe it because now I'm like, I just really want to separate. So this is what I get confused about is, I read up on narcissistic qualities and characteristics, and I can't really be in the same room with her. I can't really have a conversation with her because I know everything is just, oh, so what you do at work today? Oh, well, I work dialysis. Oh, and if I don't have the right tone or the right inflection, or if I don't do the right stuff, then it's, I'm in trouble. And so I got to pay for it with her asking me, just drilling me and grilling me for 40 minutes, an hour and a
Right.
half. So I don't want to talk to her, so I don't say anything. I give her the silent treatment, I guess. And so, I'm just trying to create space. I'm cordial, I'm polite, but I don't answer questions about. I don't really answer questions about anything that doesn't have anything to do with. Well, I'll answer questions about the kids. I'll answer questions about the money, the bills, whatever. But I feel very violated when she starts questioning me about my personal life or like just me. I mean, I don't, I'm not dating anybody. I'm just broke down because of this last relationship that I was in. I'm not a cheater. I don't go and do that. And that was just the first time that I've ever done anything like that. And the thing was is that narcissistic relationship was amazing. Oh my God, I was just like blown away. She was beautiful. She was exciting. She was everything that you know I ever wanted. Except she was married. You know, and what an idiot am I? And it was never going to be a long term. But I still felt it. You know, I still felt it, and so I don't know. So now I'm coming down off of that, and it's been longer than it should be. Like it's been like a year and a half since I've actually seen this girl, and so now I'm just trying to figure out and navigate relationships in all aspects,
Right.
and um, so I'm really having a tough time with that. You mentioned something about the astrology about us having we had a oh, what the hell, the eclipse? Did we have an eclipse?
Yeah, last month.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know how much you're into astrology, but I got Pisces on my descendant, and that eclipse was just totally opposition my Venus.
Oh
So, like,
wow, your
yeah,
love.
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, I've been just going through this thing that is just a real bad roller coaster. So all I do now is I'm like, really, really, really digging, um, uh, these. This is the only constant that I have right now. Like,
This relationship.
no, 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 no. This group thing that you do on
Oh,
Monday, you know, and it's the only thing that's accessible that makes sense. And so I kind of think that maybe it's crazy. I kind of think the universe is just like, look at, you don't really need the lawyer right now. The counselors, they're back ordered too. They don't have any spots available. So I'm like, what do you got? I'm like, well, you got yourself. You can only trust yourself. The first 6 Black Sabbath albums, and this one constant thing that you got going on, and you know, and so get your resources together, man, because sooner or later it's going to happen.
right.
So you need to get your resources together. So she's taking the social security cards, mine and the kids, and so I'm going and I got the social security cards replaced. So I got that. I'm trying to get the birth certificates together. I'm trying to get my paperwork straightened out, and I got a post office box. So now I can get mail sent to the post office box. Um,
Awesome. Do you have like a safety deposit box for those documents too? Is that what you're
uh,
doing with those?
I do not. I basically live out of my car. I have a bunch of. I have all my papers that I have in a couple bags in my car. I have emergency set change of clothes. I got a gym membership, so if I need to, I can shower at the gym. And so basically, I pay $900 a month in rent to be homeless, and
Right.
and so it's at least the kids have a spot. Um, so I'm kind of like in um, this I don't know, like the twilight zone. I feel absolutely nothing. I feel like dirt, just low, and my patients at work, I do dialysis, and my patients can see that. They're like, look, you look like you got a lot of stuff on your head. And they don't need to see me like that. I need to be giving them good vibes,
Right.
And so I started giving blood and platelets, and just to try to that's actually been helpful too. Is ironic, because giving platelets, I have to sit in a chair for 2 hours, and my dialysis patients have to sit in the chair for 4 hours, so I can actually take on some of their karma a little bit. I sit in there and I can be in their seat a little bit, and it kind of helps me relate. At least, there was a man who was bummed out because he didn't have any shoes until he met the man with no feet, type of thing,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And so I'm really just trying to take this time to ground myself and dig in for the long haul and look for opportunities, and even see if I can try to create an opportunity for me to just inch forward to get out of this. Because she's, I'm terrified that what's going to happen is she's just going to make a false claim,
Right.
or say something, and I'll lose my nursing license. I won't be able to see the kids, and whatever. Because she's gonna say and do whatever.
Right. They
And
do that. They twist things all up and around.
oh yeah. And the thing is, though, is I talked to a couple buddies of mine, and they're like, "Look, it, dude, all you have to do is not say a word, and just let her talk."
Right.
Because the police, and I don't know, I hear horror stories with family court, but the police and anybody who has any type of awareness or education is going to totally see and hear, that she's not exactly right with her perception. And what all they're going to see is, like, this dude is he's got 2 jobs. He's trying to. Another thing I'm doing is I'm keeping all the receipts. Everything that I buy, I'm keeping all the receipts, and I'm trying to just keep them in a folder. And I want to make a little, I don't know, diary of receipts or something, so that I can at least have something to present in custody court. Writing a diary is very difficult for me. Like, I can't seem to articulate writing this diary. So I would write. I'm sitting in the bathroom, and she barges in the bathroom, and I tell her to get the hell out of the bathroom because I'm using the bathroom, and she says, "I'm not doing that. You are." Like, because I was recording conversations. I was basically walking around with my phone with the recorder on, and then she got wind of that, and so now, and so, but then I heard that they don't really take recorded conversations because, I could instigate her and then record the conversation and get her when she's all riled up or something. So I'm just like, well, how is that any different than me writing it down?
Right.
So, boy, that was a little bit more disorganized than I thought it was going to be. But
Okay. So it sounds like the core issue right now internally, like the one thing that you have control of right now is your fear, right? And I mean, you don't have control of it yet, but the one thing that you can take control of is your fear, right?
okay,
Your state of mind, because like everything else can be taken away from you. The one thing that no one can take away from you is your mental state, like how you show up, right? So if that's the only thing that you can take control of right now, then you want to take control of that and override the fears. And, for me, I think the fear a lot of times is of the unknown. And the more unknowns there are in the picture, the more fear there is about what's going on. And you're talking about a lot of unknowns, like what's going on at school with your kid. Now you got the home schooling situation or the homebound thing. And then maybe there's this other group that can help out with that. And, all of these different pieces on top of it, like the logistics of the home, the attorney, like all of that. So, if there's any way that you can start getting, more and more of these pieces put together, like, you said, okay, so the new place fell through, so that's not going to work. Maybe that wasn't the right place. Maybe there's some other thing that you can look for. Maybe there's a better place that's going to come up for you. Something that you also mentioned that you want to work on that's also internal, you know, is like, so you are a nurse and you're an empathic person. And so like you're comparing her right now to the situation with your patients. Like your patients come in to you as a nurse and they need help. They're sick and they want help because they wouldn't be there if they didn't want help. Like somebody would be maybe dragging them in there if they didn't actually want help or something, or they would just not go. Your patients genuinely want to get better. That's why they're getting treatment. Your wife, your partner probably doesn't want to get better, right? And that is the distinction here between someone, you know, who has the narcissistic issues and someone who does not. Like someone who does not have narcissistic issues is willing to get help, is willing to admit some, you know, personal responsibility for their thoughts, actions, choices, is willing to make changes when they realize how they are affecting other people. And it just sounds like she has no clue about that. Like she has no clue about how she's affecting you, no clue about how she's affecting her children. And how, like you mentioned, that dynamic where they realize now they're not stupid. They realize that, you know, instead of, you know, standing up to her, you know, and then dealing with 45 minutes of, you know, that exhausting conversation until like she imposes her will on them and then they give in, they just find some other way of dealing with that, some other survival mechanism. And it seems like she has no clue because she believes that they should go along with what she agrees in. You know, so you want to get control of your mind in that too, and recognize that this person is not the same as your patients. You know, your patients who come in and they genuinely want to get better. They know there's something wrong with them. They go to the doctor, they want to get better. And, you know, it sounds like maybe the therapy, the counseling you did earlier, it sounds like, you know, she went in there like a typical narcissist, twisted everything around. It turned out to be, you know, some kind of like beating down on you situation. It sounds like maybe there wasn't a lot of validation from the therapist or the counselor, and that might have even set you back further mentally where you are with that. Does that sound familiar?
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I've had a long time to go through and think about and analyze that. You know, the relationship I have with the patients. This is not exactly what you were saying. You know, the patients have a need, and they look to me to fulfill that need, and we have this relationship that it's give and take. There's reciprocity. There's, you know, they challenge me, I challenge them back, but we mutually respect each other, and it's not always easy, it's not always pleasant, but it's healthy, you know, and I get that. And that's the sharp contrast. When I get home, I'm like, you know, she doesn't work. She's home all the time. And I'm like, you know, and she's like, you know, I did the laundry and I did the dishes. I'm like, okay, well that's great, but you know, we need to do more. We have to get, you know, we have kids to raise. We have, you know, things to do. And you know, can you, you know, help out a little bit more with finances or whatever, or, you know, get a job, or what do you want to do with yourself? You can't just sit in the house all the time. And then, so anyway, those conversations just don't happen. I could have those conversations, difficult conversations with my patients about, you know, about dying, about see, with dialysis, it's different than most other type of nursing. Is I see the same patients Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I see the same patients Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I know them. I know their dog's name. I know their mortgage payments. They hang out for 4 hours a day. I know them. They can walk in. I'm like, all right, you have to go to the hospital because you don't look right. You just know them. They're family. And so, you know, maybe it's something that I'm bringing home or whatever, but for some reason we can't get there in this relationship. And it's taken me a long time to realize that there was something going on. And well, even, you know, even before, she does have I don't know if you're familiar with a pituitary adenoma. It's basically a cyst on the pituitary gland.
Wow.
Yeah. and I actually diagnosed it like a while ago. She was having profuse night sweats, and there was some pigmentation. There was a she would have like some lighted pigmentation. She would get stressed. There was just something going on endocrine, and I was you know, in the endocrine system, I was like, there's got to be something going on. And sure enough, there was a long story how that got discovered. But yeah, she has is basically a cyst on the pituitary gland. So um, it's 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 not cancerous. Chemotherapy or surgery to go in and remove it. Not pleasant. And you know, typically, you know, I mean, we're not legally married, but you know, for a while there, we were husband and wife. You know, we were acting as partners, and I have no intention, or I had no intention on just abandoning a sick person. You
Right.
know, and now this is exactly what I have to do. Not only do I have to abandon her, I have to snatch the kids away from her.
Right.
You know, and I might as well just punch her in the face while I'm doing it. You know, I mean, it's just so cruel for me to do that. You know, why now I have to be this person. So, um, so yeah, I do recognize the relationship is different between me and my patients and me and her. I do recognize that the need for me to leave, and I'm okay with it. Um, I mean, if I had $1 million or $50,000, there'd be no issue. You know, I'd be able to boom get the rent. You know, I'd be even able to set her up in her own place so she didn't have to worry about you know, where she's gonna sleep. You know, she didn't have to go to no women's shelter or whatever.
Does
And
she have family or anything?
well, you know, she's got a mom and a dad, and you know, they're not in the greatest of health. And you know, I'm sure that they said that you know she could live in with them, but you know, she's telling me no, she can't live with them, and
Right.
um, and that's not the healthiest situation either for her to live with her parents. You know, she's had a not a pleasant childhood, and her
Right.
parents are, you know, I mean, there's a reason why she's behaving the way she behaves,
Right.
and you know, there's a reason why I behaved. I've tolerated it, and you know,
Right.
and so
I
um,
mean, here's the thing. Like, okay, so one, you know, she
so
wouldn't entirely be on the street, right? You know that worst case scenario, she could go stay with her parents. What happens between them is not your responsibility. And I know that's really hard to accept because you're such a compassionate person. But, you know, you have to look at the bigger picture here too and realize, like, ask yourself, like, how much has this woman abandoned you already? How much is she abandoning your children already? Not necessarily her physical presence because she's there, but emotionally, how much is she already abandoning your kids? And how much work are they going to have to go through, you know, so they can work out all of that stuff and not carry this legacy of abuse forward with them.
right, right, yeah. I mean, I get it. I totally get it. Um, and you know, I just face myself with a, you know, a fat lot of good it does me, because I still can't figure out there's a gap there, and I don't know what that gap is. I've been reading the books, and so it's just basically it's a matter, I have to talk my way through it, and um and just figure it out. Do I need to quit my job again and get a different job? There's you know, there's just
The job because of the schedule, is that what you're talking about? The 6 a.m. start time and getting your kids?
yeah, yeah, that's an issue. And it's just so grinding and demanding. Like, it's not like a job where I can leave. I can't leave. I'm the
Right.
charge nurse. I'm the charge nurse. There's only one charge nurse there. There's not like there's other charge nurses that cover for me. I'm it. So I have to be there. And um I can't just, oh well, your kid's having a meltdown at school, and we're the professionals, but we can't handle it.
Right.
And so you have to come and pick them up. So, I did that for, I had to do that for a good 3 months where like once or twice a week I would pick him up from school and leave work, had to get my boss to come in to cover for me. And that gets old real quick with a gaggle full of female nurses there. It gets old real quick of you leaving your job. And even though, it's, they leave the job, there's just a lot of little things that keep my see. I'm like, this is a lot of the stuff that I allow in my life,
Right.
and I'm
So
just like, wait a minute, you guys leave, so go ahead. Anyway, you go ahead.
why does she not pick him up from school?
She doesn't drive. She doesn't have a car. And so this is another dilemma is like, okay, so she's saying I'm keeping her from driving. And, I guess in a sense that might be true because I don't think she's emotionally stable to drive. And I feel like I would be responsible. Okay, what's going to happen is she wants me to pay for her license and then let her take the car. And then she's going to fucking smash the car and then we're going to be screwed. And so, no, I have to say, no, I am not going to participate in that, and now it makes me look like, so now I have to go back and look at, okay, well, a narcissist is a controlling person that keeps people down and keeps them financially unstable and stuff. And so, okay, I kind of fit that definition. But then again, I
well,
don't want the car smashed, and I don't want her, hurting the kids in the car because I don't trust her to drive. Maybe
that's a whole different thing, right? It's like
I think so.
you're afraid for your children's lives. Like it's more than just like the material possession of the car and not being able to replace the car and needing the car, but like it's also your children's lives. And
Yeah, and another person, she could run somebody over.
right.
She had a ticket because like 13 years ago she had a permit and she took the car. I told her not to. She took it and she got in an accident. And to
Right.
this day she says, "Oh well, I pulled out and they should have stopped." Hey, no, that's not it. And so I'm like, still, even to this day, if you said, "Look, all right, I screwed up. I shouldn't have pulled out." Okay, that's some sort of realm of, okay, you understand some responsibility. She doesn't take any responsibility
No.
for herself. And so how can my 14-year-old kid is autistic and he takes more responsibility for himself, than she does ever.
Right.
And so it's, so if she was like singing me things or telling me things, I was like, okay, this is something we can work with. But no, we'll get there. We'll almost get there, and then she'll say something, and I'm just like, okay, we can't. There's no way. We can't even sit in the car together and teach. She wants me to teach her how to drive. I'm like, okay. So sometimes I think that she's trying to hook me along.
Right.
Okay, I need you to teach me how to drive, and you can't leave me until I learn how to drive, and I'm on my own 2 feet, and this and that and the other. I'll be 50 years old before she gets to that point.
You
And
could
she'll
be
drag her
you
feet
could be
all
in
along.
your grave before
I
she
could be
gets to that
dead.
point.
I could be dead, and I will
Yeah.
be. And a couple, the girls I work with were like, look, you're too young. You're 42. You look like you're 12. You got your whole life ahead of you. You can do whatever.
Right.
But to stay stuck in here is just stupid.
Yeah. See, the thing is, what's the hardest part for you? It sounds like it's not just the fear. Well, it's not just the fear of the unknown. It's also the fear of, what would people think if they saw this situation from outside and it looks like you abandoned her and it looks like, but the thing is, dude, like there has been 15 years of this and that's not going to change. She's not going to change. This is
Right?
who she is. I mean, obviously I'm not a psychologist. I don't diagnose people, but she sounds more like the borderline personality. They have
Yeah.
that very reckless thing where, it could be sex, it could be drugs, it could be driving and, just extreme reckless driving. And you have children and, you obviously care about your kids and don't want them to get hurt. And it just doesn't sound like she's responsible enough to handle that at all. And I honestly, like, I know it's going to be really hard and part of you is going to feel like you're being an asshole for doing it, but you got to find your way out. Like you got to find your way out with the kids. And yeah, it's going to look like you're abandoning her and she's going to say that all the way. but you just got to get really clear about the fact that she already abandoned you a long time ago. She's abandoned your kids a long time ago. She's capable of change. Like, it's not going to change.
Right. It's not, and so, yeah. So I don't know. It's just good to just talk through it and figure out what I need to do. I just try to, like you said, I try to do a little bit at a time, a day at a time. Just
right, one
do
step
small
at a
goals.
time.
Yeah, yeah, and inch my way there. And it's so basically it's more difficult with children to
Right.
do this, and limited resources. But I just feel like that there's this wall in front of me, and I just cannot get past this wall no matter what I do.
That wall is the fear.
Is that the fear?
It's absolutely the fear. That wall, that wall that always comes up, when we're faced with like a life choice, it's fear. And it's fear of the unknown. It's fear of like, well, what's going to happen if I do that? Right. And
I'm terrified.
Right.
I'm terrified of it, really, because I contemplate, okay, I have to go to court, and I'm just imagining, okay, I'm going to go to court and I have to say that she's this horrible person. That's why I'm trying to take the kids. But at the same time, the courts don't like it when you say that you're not going to let the other parent see the kid. So I don't know how I'm going to have to fiddle this. Like, okay, yeah, she's a horrible person. Oh yeah, but she can still see the kids, And so I'm like, I just get, I guess what I'm trying to say is I create fears for myself.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm like, okay, well, this is a thing I have to worry about. And this is a thing I have to worry about. I probably don't have to worry about any of it.
Right. So many times, like, we spend so much energy on that worry of things that might never happen. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know.
What's that?
Time here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know if I'm hogging up the whole all the time, if other people want to talk or whatever.
There was somebody came in and out, but it looks
Okay.
like he left again. But I wanna help you. Like, I feel like we need to get to some point here where you have something to go forward with. So maybe the only thing that you can take control over right now is that fear. Maybe looking at that fear in a different way, and there's only like a few ways to deal with that wall. One is to jump over it. One is to go around it, and the other is like to bust right through it. So You just have to decide, how are you going to go about this wall? Is this...
I want to blow it up, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to demolish that wall. That wall can't be there.
Okay. So, the way to demolish fear is to take action. So, see if you can look at these pieces of the puzzle, the child with the school thing, the situation with the home, getting a new home, filing for custody, and this and that. Is there, what can you do right now? Like, what is one step that you can take right now? What is another step that you can take right now to start to prepare that? Like you said, you have been doing some things, like you've been getting the social security cards of everybody, you've been gathering these documents. You did mention that you put those in your car, and you also mentioned that she found the book in the car. So it sounds like she might be, invading your privacy in that car as well. And, if it's possible to get a safety deposit box or some other place to keep these kinds of documents that you need, that might be a really safe idea.
I was gonna get a storage place.
Okay.
It's actually a pretty big one for like $40. What kind of dog you got?
That's a dog outside, but I have a little Boston Terrier.
Oh, okay. All right. I got a black lab pit mix.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, so I was thinking about getting it's obviously inevitable for me to start. What I want to do is start pulling stuff out of the house slowly but surely. And she's already she's what do they call that? Hyper vigilant.
Uh-huh.
So like I walk in and she's already scanning the area for anything. Like I had to go into the garage for something, and I think I left the filing cabinet open. So instead of saying, why is the filing cabinet open? She's like, what did you steal out of the filing cabinet? What's in there? What did you take? What
Right.
papers did you take? And meanwhile, she's got a bunch of my stuff in her purse, like my car keys, the spare
Right.
car keys and the social security cards and whatever else. And so whatever. But so but then it's going to be like, see, I told you he was a thief. I told you he was a robber and a liar, and you can't trust around him because he's going to take stuff out of the house. So she sets it up. You know what I
Right.
mean? I know I have to do that, and she knows I have to do that, and she manipulates it to set it up. And you know, she knows how to push my buttons, so I have to leave. And so that's what she does. Is how she manipulates me and twists me up. Is she tells me she knows that if she if she basically annoys the shit out of me, then I have to leave because I'm going to get angry and lose my temper or whatever and
Right.
act like an ass. And then she's going to go and say, oh, see, you know, you're violent, you're aggressive, you're this, you're that. And so I just leave. And so she knows that all she has got to do is just rattle my cage for a second and I have to go. So that tactic is now being used against me.
Correct.
So yeah,
As will anything.
as well as everything,
Right.
you
Everything and
know.
anything.
Yeah, yeah, seriously. So yeah, I was gonna get a storage bin. The garage is a mess. So one of my older son's friend came over all winter long, and every time he would come over, he'd bring a bike and take apart. And my garage is like a bike garage. I have like 15 abandoned bikes in the garage, and I have to get rid of them and take them to the scrapyard or whatever. But I wanted to take that opportunity to clean the garage out and kind of slip some stuff out and put it in the storage facility. And so that was another plan. We have a lawyer for the kid, so we can take the school. We have to take the school to court. They want to put him in a residential facility,
Oh, wow.
and the kid is a genius. This kid is so beautiful and just gentle and smart. He's wicked smart, and the school is totally doing him dirty. And so
Um,
he he's not even really doing anything wrong because he's just basically fighting to protect himself and defend himself is basically what he's doing. He's like, you guys treat me like dirt, and then you guys want me to be your friend. And so now he's got, oh well, he's aggressive.
is he
And
being
then
bullied by students or by like staff?
by staff and
Uh,
they admit it's a long story. I don't even want to get into it right now. It's bad. So anyway, why I brought it up was because the lawyer said it's either going to be real quick fix or it's going to be a long drawn out process. If the school wants to settle, then it'll be fine. But I'm not settling for anything that I don't want. If
right.
I'm not gonna take anything that I don't want. He's not going to no residential facility. They're gonna get him the services that he needs, and he's gonna be in a safe environment. And
Right.
they're not gonna call child protective. They're not gonna get him all aggravated and lock him in a room somewhere, which is all the crap that they've been doing. So um, so if it's quick and he can go back to a school setting where he can go to school and not have a meltdown because now he doesn't trust the school at all. He doesn't
Right.
feel
He doesn't
comfortable
feel
going in
safe
there.
there.
No, not at all. So
Right.
so so that's a big if. Those are big ifs. If we get everything we want, if we can settle out of court, and if he can go and be rematriculated back into the classroom, that might make it easier. I could be able to get them to school and have some sort of daycare activity after school when I get out of work for a couple hours, and then I'd like to have activities for him. I'd like to have him do martial arts and then music, and then some other activity if I could to give him a routine, help them burn through all the bullshit that they've been with for the past 10 years.
Right, because
And
they're going to need structure and
they're going to need a lot of structure.
safety and
Yeah,
love.
all that.
Right.
And uh, so if it's a long process, that's going to make it difficult because
Right.
okay, if it goes to school, I've already talked to the lawyer and told the lawyer about my issues and my concerns about if I move out of the house and I take the kids, is that going to possibly potentially alter any positive verdict for us? You know, um, now, the school knows about her too. The school can't do business with her at all. She's just is very abusive and very
Wow.
condescending and verbally abusive and really alienating. She really alienates, because she just doesn't know how to talk to people and work it out. So,
So they're kind of aware.
oh, they're
Kind of
very
aware.
aware.
Oh, okay.
They're very aware. They're clearly aware.
Do they have a
And,
child psychologist there?
yeah, well, we can't do any business with the school. The school is a Babylonian institution, and so anything that the child psychologist is doing is twisting it up to reinforce what the school wants to do. So
Uh,
we had to get our own psychologist to come in and actually advocate for us. So and that wasn't easy either, and it's still not easy. But you know, but we have a diagnosis for him, and he just to get him services to get him by, and but anyway, I could talk for hours about this, but anyway, so the lawyer gave me options that I can, um, if we move out of the district, it might make things easier. There would be no court case if we moved out of the district.
oh, wow.
However, the that was the lawyer for the school. The other lawyer, the custody lawyer, said, "Look, you should. The kids don't want to move. He's like, the kids are selfish. They only care about what they want, and what they want is they want to stay with their friends. They don't like change. They want to be close to normal as possible." So he advised they would to stay in the district. That would give me more leverage in custody court to take the kids. If I got the older child, and the younger one would probably come through and stay with me. But if I move to a different district, then first of all, it might make it more difficult for me to obtain custody of the kids because um, they might not want to leave. They might want to stay with mom. But there's no guarantee that mom is going to stay in the district either, because she doesn't have it. She ain't going to pay any rent. She's
Right.
not going to be able to support herself. So like I said, here I am spinning my wheels. What if? What if? What if? What if? What if? Um,
Right.
so hopefully in a couple of days that issue will be resolved. We'll be able to submit paperwork to the school, get our complaint finalized, and then the lawyers can talk and chit chat to make a decision. So I guess what I'm trying to do is do a timeline, a deadline of when I want to be out of that house.
So
And
what
it
what
was,
feels reasonable to you? You said maybe, you're hoping for March before, but if you look at
yeah.
that realistically now, what do you think is reasonable?
Well, worst case scenario would be end of August, September, when the kids start school again.
Like right
But
before?
yeah, but I don't know if I can last that long. I mean, I've been
Yeah.
saying that for years, but I mean, I can't even, I really have to turn myself in the knots just to be able to negotiate life with her, just to be
Right.
able to, sleep on the couch, just to be able to sleep on the couch for work and get a couple hours of sleep without getting harassed. Um,
Right. And it's almost like the more you know and the more you're aware of it, like the more you feel like you have to make a move.
yeah, but I'm stuck in cement.
Right.
I'm just in cement. I can't move, and that's what's really frustrating. Is the money is really limiting, money and time and fear. So um, so
So
that's what. I'm
what's
sorry.
that?
Go ahead. You were saying?
You mentioned earlier that, you have some interest in astrology and whatnot,
Yeah.
and that eclipse came through and it really
Oh my
highlighted
God.
like what's not okay, what's not working anymore,
Hmm.
and what has to change.
Yeah.
And, and the thing is that, like, I know it sounds kind of woo woo, right? But like your mental state actually affects what's happening to you in life. Like the people that you meet, the situations that come, just like the random things that happen aren't totally random, because it has a lot to do with the energy that you're putting out. My suggestion to you would be to attack the fear. Like you said, it feels like you're in cement. You need a jackhammer, and you need to get through that fear and just start busting through that. And,
Okay.
and if you can work on that inside, as your fear goes away, I could almost guarantee you that things are going to start to shift. Like you're going to start to get some help from outside sources, like this thing with the school, something maybe suddenly miraculously shifts in your favor, in your kids' favor. Like things start to happen as you change what's inside, because as you're projecting that outward, it's like the universe gives you exactly what it is that you're projecting. Your belief systems are being reinforced by your experiences.
The
And
self-fulfilling prophecy.
correct. And it sounds like there's so many things that are out of control right now.
Yeah.
The only thing that you can get control of right now is your mental state, conquering that fear.
I agree with that. I agree with everything you just said. That's absolutely correct. Because I'm almost encouraging it by being limpy and like pussyfooting around. I really
Right.
have to go and define it and attack it, like you were saying. But that I really don't trust my judgment, because I've been doing it and I've been failing, and so
Well, it's because you've been in this relationship for 15 years. You probably grew up with a similar dynamic. You don't know how to trust yourself, right? And so
no, I
it's
don't.
that self-trust, you're confused, you're self-doubting. I mean, that's exactly what happens to
Mm-hmm.
victims of this kind of abuse. Like incredibly predictably, that's exactly what happens. And
Yeah,
so that's part of it, right? But so you can't just suddenly convince yourself to believe yourself. It's like your subconscious is not going to believe you, which is why
right.
you just need to get out and start taking some new action. Like if you can conquer that fear through action in some way, and then you get some new results, and then your subconscious is like, oh, hey, look at that. Right? Something
Mm-hmm.
different happened. And as you can keep taking action, even little small steps action to bust through that fear, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
start to convince your subconscious that you can trust yourself, that when you take action and you trust your intuition, good things happen, and in order to override the gravity of all of that from the past.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I've been doing, and because if it's not fear, it's the loneliness, and
Right.
I just can't keep living like that, because it's killing
No.
me.
Right.
And that makes me want to go and text the other girl,
Right.
and
Which
I
is going to result.
don't
Yeah.
want to do that,
Right.
and so it's just this quagmire and stuff. So I really think that if I could focus on conquering the fear, because that's all I
Yes.
got, really. All I got is the fear. That's all I got.
Right.
And
And that's the only thing you can take control over.
right.
The only thing
Yeah.
right now that you can get control over. And, keep in mind your bigger purpose too. Like, this isn't just about you. This is about your kids and their
Well, it's all
future.
about the kids.
Right. Right. I mean, it's
It,
partly about you, because you need to be able to take care of your kids. And if you feel like shit and you're beaten down and you don't have energy or health to take care of them, who's going to take care of them? Right. So it is partly about you, and it's your life too, right? Which is being just destroyed by this person. But if you can keep your mind on the bigger purpose too, and the fact that what's happening with your youngest son right now has everything to do with the turmoil at home, and
mm-hmm.
being that purpose, and that purpose fueling you, to bust through that fear and to take unprecedented action to do that, and to rebuild that sense of self-trust slowly,
Mm-hmm.
but through action, because as you take new action, you get new results. Like Einstein said that, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Right.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so, as I've been following your journey a little bit over the last few months, I'm well aware that you're starting to take, different steps for yourself, and you're definitely educating yourself and thinking through new things and contacting people. And now I think it's the time for big action, big steps for yourself to bust through this fear. I don't know what that means to you, but something. And like
I don't know either.
maybe if you just sit with that, or just like that image you mentioned, cement, right? That's coming from your subconscious. Your subconscious feels like you're stuck in cement. So if you can meditate, sit with that and see, like, are you more a visual person? Are you more auditory
Yeah,
or aesthetic?
I'm visual. I'm
Okay.
visual.
So close your mind and envision the cement. What does it look like? What does it look like when you're in the cement? What does that wall look like? Really envision that stuff. And then once you get a sense of what that is and what it feels like and all, then do something in your mind, in that vision. If your feet are stuck in the cement, then get a jackhammer and start breaking up that cement. If that wall is in front of you and you want to bust through that wall, do it in your mind, because like your mind can't tell the difference between what's really happening and what
You're
you're
right.
imagining is happening.
That's right.
So I think, it seems like you're not doing much, but you really are. It's like you're retraining your subconscious, and maybe through like little things in your everyday life too, you'll get some sort of opportunity to like take some sort of little action like that. Maybe other random fears that you have in your life, and like you just take some new action and then you're reinforcing that. But I think that's where you got to begin right now, is with that fear.
Yeah, I can work with that. I have to. That's awesome. Yeah. All right then.
Giving you a big hug, man. I know you're going through a lot. Like
Woo!
it's so much, and I can't even imagine because I'm not in your shoes. But I'm sending you a big hug, and you're not alone, and you can do this. Like, you definitely have the inner resources to do this. You just got
Mhm.
to get your mind right.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate the support and stuff. We're basically this is it. This is all the support I got, and I really value that. And I give you big hugs too, and I give it to the cosmos so you can have good karma coming in the future, man. But no, really though, I do, with all sincerity, that having you tipped me off to the book Psychopath Free, and I cannot believe the in-depth definition that it gave me, because that's what I did not have. I knew something was wrong, but I just thought, and without a clear-cut definition, I was like, well, maybe I'm crazy, or this is just, we're a bunch of dirtball lowlifes or something, and this is just how it is. But once I got that book, and it really went into explaining everything, even the stuff that I felt like, I was like, okay, well, I'm causing it. No, and so that is gonna, that you just got blessed 1,000 lifetimes of good for that. Really, I do mean that,
Yeah,
and
that book is a sanity saver.
it seriously is.
Yeah.
Well, I know you've probably been on here for a while. I really appreciate your time, and
You're welcome.
I'll let you go, and so you can do your thing.
All
And
right.
I'm gonna go work on some fear. How's
That's
that?
right, man.
All right.
I believe in you. You can do it.
I appreciate it, Meredith. Thanks a
All
lot.
right. Big hug.
Okay. Yep. Bye
Bye.
bye.
So, this is an addendum to the conversation earlier. Sometimes things hit me right after I talk to somebody. I want to give them something else to go with. This is for the man who was talking tonight about his family, his children, needing to get them to safety away from a very toxic partner and whatnot. And a couple things came to me. One, is in terms of conquering fears and putting yourself in situations where you can take physical action to conquer fears. So, you also mentioned getting a gym membership, if you need like a backup place to shower and stuff. Okay. So while you have your gym membership, going to the gym and pushing yourself in new ways, like not to put yourself in risk of injury, like do it responsibly and safely and all that. But giving yourself some kind of new goal, like something that seems impossible to you, something you've always talked yourself out of, maybe even, but something that's just like it seems impossible, and then go do it. And like maybe it's like a goal of like a certain amount of days or a certain amount of like, high intensity training exercises, or how many miles you're walking or running, or how much weights you're lifting, like whatever thing is your thing. But push yourself to that point, again, responsibly and safely, but to overcome something that you thought was impossible. And again, it's not something you do like on a one-off. Like you're going to be working toward this, and this is going to go on for a period of time because that's where you're at right now. And so like you need discipline. You need to do something. So if you can start with your physical body, which is going to cause like physiological changes, even if like, your muscles, your blood, everything, right? And that's going to shift your psychology, and it's going to get you to believe that you can overcome these fears, and it's going to get you used to like being in this state of I can do this. Like I can do this impossible thing. What I thought was impossible for me, I'm going to do it. I am doing it. I can do it. And until you say I did it, right? But by then likely like things in your life are also really changing because you're changing your state, and as you keep changing your state and increasing your self-awareness and taking new action, toward your dreams and toward what you want, things change, like you start inside, you change your world from inside, and then miraculously outside life starts to change, but like going to the gym, this being like something really amazing you can do for yourself to get really physical grounded in your body, things happening, you're changing things with your body. And the other thing I mentioned, of course, is like the purpose, the sense of purpose, right? And you said it's like it's all about the kids, and it's mostly about the kids, right? So you mentioned your youngest son and this whole complicated thing with the school system and the case and all of this. So what if you take a drive with your son and you get some one-on-one time to have like a heart-to-heart with him, and maybe you do something that he likes, so he's in a relaxed and peaceful state, like nothing rushed, nothing that's going to cause anxiety, and ask him like what he wants, because like you mentioned that it's like the staff is like bullying him and treating him in this way, in this very judgmental way, and he's like brilliant, and he's having an emotional stress right now, something really awful that he's feeling that he's not finding any other way of expressing. So what if you ask him what he wants? What does he want at school? What outcome does he want? Like if any outcome is possible from that situation, what would he want to happen? And in general, in life, and see what he throws at you, right? And then also ask him, what is he happy about in his life? And what is he unhappy about? And if you have these really heart-to-heart sort of conversations with him, maybe he opens up about something to you. Maybe you're already trying to have these conversations. I don't know. We didn't really get into that tonight. Maybe this is like the next level of like just really speaking to him like an adult, like what do you want? What are you unhappy about? What are you happy about right now? And see what he tells you. Because, there's got to be something there that you can go on and something that you can help him with. And maybe if, and you see it because you're his dad, right? And so you've gone through something similar. So it's going to be easier to see it. And what if you help him to overcome whatever that is? Like it seems impossible, but it's possible, right? And you're already in the state where you believe that that's happening and it is possible. And you help your son get into that state, and maybe he tells you he's totally unhappy at that school, and maybe the school district thing isn't an issue anymore and some other door opens up. Who knows? Like whatever comes of that. But I would definitely ask him those questions, and I would take that to the gym if I were you, since you mentioned that you have that, and that really being like a grounding, real, like do the meditation we talked about, the guided visualization, because you're very visual, of like the concrete, what are you going to do with that in the wall, and what are you going to do with that? But also take it to the gym and make it real, like in your body, and physiologically change things so that psychologically things are already changing, and like it's helping you shift your psychology. So I just wanted to add that in. And this question is for all of you. Any of you listening to this right now, are you a parent did you have a very toxic co-parent? Were you able to escape a situation that you felt like you were trapped in, that you didn't know how you're going to get out, or how you can get your kids to safety, or how you could start this new life and get away from this very, very toxic person? If you have any suggestions, if you have any words of encouragement, something that you did, maybe just some common experiences that you want to chime in, go ahead and write in the comments below. Thank you.